Hello people of the internet, welcome back. In this video I'm going to be talking about how to do makeup that actually looks good in real life, because I see a lot of makeup tutorials on the internet. I think it's kind of gone a bit out of style now, but where people wear basically like stage makeup that looks really good under good lighting, but in real life it doesn't look good. Of course, you can do whatever you like with your makeup. I'm not telling you what to do. But if you've tried that and you don't like it and you're wondering how to make makeup look good in real life, this is how to do it. So the first step, well, this is what I do anyway. I'm not a makeup artist. I am not a professional. This is just what I do. First step, make sure your skin looks as good as you can get it. Of course, it's not like you need to have absolutely perfect skin in order to do makeup, of course not, but the better you can get your skin, the easier it's going to be to make it look good. So what I've done is I've washed my face, I've put a moisturiser on, just the QV lotion, it's not expensive or anything, and I put some Vaseline on my lips. If you're going to be going out in the daylight, then you're going to want to put a sunscreen on as well. It's like the evening here. This is just to show you I'm not actually going to be going anywhere. But if you are going out and it's daytime, put sun cream on and use a sunscreen that is a chemical sunscreen, which means it doesn't have either zinc oxide or titanium dioxide in the ingredients, especially if you're going to be photographed. Because if you're photographed in a sunscreen with mineral filters, when you first put it on, it can make you look like white and streaky, and especially if you've got a darker skin tone. If you're fair like me, it doesn't look as bad unless you're in flash photography, in which case you'll look grey and it's not a good look. I'm just telling you that now. Use a sunscreen without that in. After you've got your skin done, I've got a little mirror here that I'm going to be using, so that's what I'll be looking at. After you've done that, I recommend using a makeup primer. It's one of those things that you feel like it doesn't do anything, but actually does. The one that I'm using is a really like silicone-y. It is super slippy, which isn't great if you have very oily skin and want your makeup to last a long time. But it does make your pores look very, very smooth. It just depends on your like skin type, what primer will be best for you. If you have oily skin and you struggle and your makeup tends to like slide off your face, I would recommend using a primer that's very sticky, and that will help your makeup last longer. Then once you've got that on, I start on my face. I personally don't feel like I need to use tons of concealer and foundation. I don't think anyone really does. I'm quite lucky that I've always had pretty good skin. So it's not, maybe I'm just saying this like oh yes, no one needs to use tons of foundation, but I'm just saying that because I haven't. But of course, like I can't get this open. It's a new one. I'm just testing this out for the first time. I've never actually used it before, but I've heard it's good, so okay. Right, so the concealer that I'm using, so I don't like to use tons and tons of foundation and concealer. So what I normally use is I'll just do a concealer as my foundation, and for me at least it tends to work very well. And I feel like using less of a more like heavier product actually looks better than using a very thick layer of a more transparent product. And that's why I use a concealer. But again, you can do what you like, experiment, see what works for you. I'm just going to put a little bit of this under my eyes. The colour match looks good. This is colour 03, and this looks good for me. Because the one I had before, I had one colour that was just slightly too light, and one colour that was slightly too dark, and I had to kind of mix them a bit to get it the right colour. So literally, that's all I put on. A bit on my forehead, 2 like dots under my eyes, a little bit on the sides of my nose, a bit on my chin, and that's kind of it. And then I take a damp sponge and I blend it in. Normally I'll kind of spread it around my fingers a bit just to get it spread out, because I feel like it's hard to get the primary spread with a sponge. So I get it spread around a bit just with my fingers, and then just rub that in, and then I go all over with a sponge, and this helps it. Oh, I forgot to rub it in on my forehead. And this gets it very blended and make sure you don't have any stripes or like splotchy bits. Always make sure your sponge is damp, but not wet. Like you want to just rinse it under the tap and then squeeze it really, really hard till no water comes out at all. I prefer using a sponge to a brush because I feel like for me, and you know how I use it, it's easier to, with a brush, you are more likely to get kind of paintbrush marks on your face because the bristles of the brush can leave like lines. If you're not super good at makeup, a sponge is easier because it's like makeup sponges are really, really fine. You can barely see the holes in it, so it's not going to leave like a print indented into the makeup. Then once I've got that on, next I go into my eyes. A lot of people say to do your eye makeup before your foundation, and it's not bad advice. You can totally do that. But and the reason people say that is so you don't get the eyeshadow falling and landing on your cheek, and then you end up with dots of eyeshadow on your cheek. But what I do is I normally do my face first, and then I do my eyeshadow. But then when I do my eyeshadow, I do it looking down so it falls away and doesn't land on my face. But of course, you can do it the other way around if you want. That also works really well. So I always use an eyeshadow primer. Again, it's one of those things that you're like, what's the point in that? But it does actually make a difference. It makes a massive difference in making sure you don't get a crease in your eyeshadow. And then with eyeshadow, I am using this Rimmel Scandalise palette, and it's just greys. I feel like it's a good idea to know if you're warm or cool tone, A, for picking your foundation, and B, for picking your eyeshadow and blusher and lipstick and everything colours. This isn't like, it's not as definite rules as people believe. It will look fine if you use like warm eyeshadow, if you're cool toned, whatever. But I feel like you just need to be aware of those things. Just so you know what you're doing. I feel like if you want to play it safe, go with an undertone that matches your skin. So like if you're cool toned, go for cool toned. If you're warm toned, go for warm toned. But you don't have to do that. It's not like it will always look bad. It will just stand out more. If you do the opposite, it will be more visible and it will pop more, which can be what you want and it can look really good, but you just have to be aware that that's what you're doing. Like Pablo Picasso said, not that I'm comparing myself to Picasso because that's a bit ridiculous. Picasso said, learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist. What I've just done there is I've got the lightest silvery grey and I've put that all over my eyelids. Then I'm going to go with the medium grey and I'm going to put that more into the crease, eye crease of my eye. Again, well, I haven't said this at all, but you want to do this with your eyes open so you can actually see where you're putting it, how it will look in like real life with your eyes open. And you want to take your time with blending. You don't want to just slap it on in one big chunk, and you want to use a really fluffy, like soft eyeshadow brush and blend it more than you think you need to. Make sure it's really soft, no harsh lines, and don't put it high. You want to put it in this area and then blend it up. You don't want to put it there and then try and blend it because you've got nowhere to go. Yeah, something fell down, just ignore that. Yeah, so you want to put it like here and then blend. And you can do this with any colour. You don't have to do like grey. If you look better in browns, do browns. If you want to do pink or whatever, do pink. It's not like these are just general tips. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. Creativity, woo. And then I'm going in with the darker grey, putting that just a little bit more in the crease of my eye. And then I'm just with my finger going in with the light grey again and just putting that right on the main part of my eyelid, just to make that bit pop out a bit. And you always want to look at it with your eyes open. You don't want to do the whole thing with your eyes closed, because what will happen is you'll open your eyes and it will look completely different. You want to do it where you can see. And then I am going to go with this kind of eyeshadow brush. It's a double-ended eyeshadow brush. This is a smudge brush. It's just flat and thin, and I'm going to go with the darker grey and just put that under there, under my lower eyelashes. You don't have to do this, but it does help and make things look a bit more cohesive. I know you're thinking like, oh, you can just put eyeliner down there and it will do the same thing. But I don't know exactly what it is, but if you put the eyeshadow there as well as eyeliner, it does make it look better, in my personal opinion. Going with eyeliner, I'm going with a grey eyeliner. This is the Rimmel Scandaleyes one in smoky grey, and this one's like a twist up one, though that makes life a lot easier. But what I'm going to do is, instead of doing a really crisp line, which looks good but is kind of hard to do, and if you're in a rush, like, just don't bother with it. Get a pencil, put a line, smudge it out. It's just easier. You want to go right along the upper eyelashes, going right into the eyelashes, so you don't have a gap. You don't have a gap between your eyelashes and your eyeliner, because that looks really weird. You want to get it right in between your eyelashes. And this doesn't have to be perfect, because we're going to smudge it. Just focus on just getting it on your eyes. And we're going to go back with this smudgy thing before it sets and smudge it in. And this also helps get it between your eyelashes as well, so it doesn't get you don't get a gap. That's what I've got so far. And then I'm going to do a similar thing on my bottom eyelashes. I'm just going to do a couple of dots and then blend it all in. I'm not even going to do a solid line. Blending saves everything. Basically, the key with makeup is, if you think you've messed it up, just blend it as much as you can and it will probably be fine. So now I've got my eyes done. I'm going to put mascara on, but I'm going to leave that till the end. And then I'm going to do my lips. So the Vaseline has kind of sunk into my lips now. And what I'm going to do red lips, because they're quite hard to do. So it's best to show you with something that's difficult, because if you're going to do something else, it's going to be easier. And I feel like, because I've done my eyes quite subtle, it's good to have like a bolder lip. That's what I'm going to do. Let's go. When you're lining your lips, don't try to do it all in one line. Do it like tiny little strokes. It just makes it easier. At least for me. You do what works for you. You can go slightly outside your lips if you want to. I normally don't, because I have quite full lips naturally, and if I overdraw it, it looks disproportionate. I look like I'm having an allergic reaction, which isn't what I'm going for. And then, before I put my lipstick on, I want to get this lip liner really, really well smudged like into my lips. I don't want it to be a solid line, because sometimes you end up still being able to see that through the lipstick. And if it gets a bit out of line, get a little cotton bud and just rub it in. Okay. Second layer. And this. I'm basically just going to colour my lips in with that. And this will make it more long lasting than if you just go in with a lipstick, or just do a line around the edge of your lips and then put lipstick on. If you colour your whole lips in with lip liner, it just makes everything more hard wearing. I'll just wipe my finger off because I'm getting a very red finger. Let's blend that in. I'm thinking for this look, I don't want my lips to look super, super harsh. So I'm just gonna very softly blend out the edges of this lip liner. Going for more of like a blotted red lip. This is much easier, a much easier look to achieve, at least for me, than a really sharp red lip. And it means if it smudges a bit, it's going to get a bit, it's going to be less obvious. So it's easier for messy people. That's what we've got so far. And then I've got this lipstick, and it's the number 7. It's a very moisturizing lipstick. That's always good. Because when you've lip liner can be quite drying, so I always use a really moisturizing lipstick afterwards. This is Pillar Box by number 7, and it's the Moisture Drench lipstick. And I just put this on. And then blending, blending, blending. And then with this lipstick, we're gonna blot it, we're gonna blend it, the key is you just want to take your time and like, and then I'm gonna get a tissue and I'm gonna blot it. And that will take off quite a lot of the excess. And then I'm going to do another layer. I know it's like quite a lot and it feels like a lot of work, but it does make, it's the subtle details that make the difference. That's the lips done. And then I always wait till after I do the lips to do my blusher, because red lipstick, it really washes you out. So you want to wait till you've actually put the lips on to see how much blush you need. I'm also going to put mascara on now. I've done my lips, and I'm going to do my eyebrows as well. Again, I leave my eyebrows until this point, because then you can see once the lips are on, which are the like focus, you can see how everything else needs to look. Once you've got the kind of focal point, everything else is kind of obvious how you want it. I've got a bit tangled in my microphone thing. Nice black mascara. Try and make sure it's not clumpy. This is the 17 Another Level Volume Mascara, and it's only £2, but it's really good. No one's like paying me to say that. Okay, right, mascara on. I only do my upper eyelashes because I have really long lower eyelashes. They're longer than my upper eyelashes. So if I put mascara on my lower eyelashes, it looks a little bit weird. But of course that just depends on you. Now I am going to do my eyebrows. Where is my eyebrow pencil? Got into a bit of a mess. It's hard to make eyebrow pencil. Okay, eyebrows. If, like me, you've naturally got quite thick, dark eyebrows, there's not a lot you need to do. You don't need to draw over your entire eyebrow, unless you literally have no eyebrows, and that's the only way it looks like you have eyebrows. You don't need to draw on your whole eyebrow. I don't even touch the inner corner. I just do the arch, just to fill that bit in. And I do little strokes. So I'm not like colouring the whole thing in. I'm not drawing a line under my eyebrow. All I'm doing is just little strokes, just to fill in the gaps. You don't even need to fill in all the gaps. You still want it to look very natural, because the lips are the focus. We don't want massive dark eyebrows. That's the eyebrows done. As you can see, it's not, my eyebrows don't look vastly different, but it just darkens them up a little bit. Now at this point, if you were going somewhere, put the outfit that you'd be wearing on. And that will, because sometimes, for example, I'm wearing a grey t-shirt now. This might look good in a grey t-shirt. If I'm then going to put something that's much darker, like a black on, that might then change the way it looks. So I would say at this point, put your outfit on. Make sure you go with your lips. When you're putting it over your face, you don't smear lipstick down your face. But now, at this point, once you've got your outfit on and you can see how everything's going to look, this is the point where you put blusher on. I am looking a bit red today because I just washed my face before I filmed this and it like irritated my skin a little bit. So I don't need a lot of blusher. I'm using this e.l.f. Luminous Putty Blush. It doesn't say the name of the colour on the pot, so it's just corally pink and it's got a little bit of shimmer in it, which is nice. So I don't need to use a separate highlighter or anything, and it's cream, which makes it super easy. So I just do like that much, like 2 dots, and then I'm just gonna blend it in with my fingers. Obviously same on the other side. Now I'm gonna put my powder on and I'm gonna leave my cheeks for a bit, because sometimes when you rub it in, it makes your face go red and you think you've got tons on and you actually don't. So you might actually end up needing to go back and add more. But I'm just gonna put a little bit of powder on. I just do the bits that get oily. You don't have to powder your entire face. And don't do the baking thing. All that does is just waste your stuff and make you look like a drag queen. Drag queens look great, but like on stage. This is for makeup that looks good in real life, as in natural lighting. Drag makeup is stage makeup. We don't want to be doing stage makeup for real life. Unless you do, but it just doesn't. It doesn't conform to traditional aesthetics. I just do my forehead, my nose, the center of my cheeks right next to my nose and like under my eye, and then my chin. Yep, and then you just need to give it one final look over. Look far away, but sometimes if you're doing it in a little hand mirror like this, it looks like each individual bit looks good, but the whole, you need to get the whole look in one thing to see. That to me looks good. I'll take my hair down and I will show you the final look. So this is the final look. This is more of like an evening look for me. I wouldn't go out like in the day like this. In the day, I could do an eye like this, but then I'd put on like a more nude lipstick. I wouldn't do the red lips. But for a party, I think this is really nice. It's quite classic. Again, as you can see, when I put that blusher on, it looked really, really bright. But now my face has not gone as red. It doesn't look like too much. So I hope you found those tips useful. Thank you for watching. Bye.